Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, Steven, with Modern Day Watcher. Guys, today we're going to be talking about something pretty special. Okay, something pretty serious. We got the war in Ukraine going on. We got the war going on in Iran with the United States and Israel. Where did Israel go? Anyways, you don't hear about Israel anymore. You hear more so about the United States, the rogue nation. Rogue Nation, okay? Rogue, I'm pointing the wrong direction. Rogue Nation. This is going to be very prophetic, this video. Not calling myself a prophet. I'm not saying that every video that I do is, prophecy, but what I do is take today's news and I search scripture on what God has to say about the news, what the Lord has to say about the news, what our Bible has to say about the news, about what's going on in today's time. Seeing that we are that last generation, biblically, last generation, meaning the last generation of all of humanity. Okay. And I'm not a doomsayer, you know what I'm saying? I'm not fear mongering or anything like that, but is we're living during a time that we have to get serious about life. Okay, we have to get serious about the things that we actually see on the news. You can't believe everything that you see on the news because not everything is real. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so important to have the Holy Spirit on the inside of you. Nonetheless, hopefully you guys like this poster here. This was on my thumbnail video. I thought to put it as a poster behind me, just so you know what we're focusing on today. Pete Headset, Donald Trump, and JD Vance. Not so much about JD Vance, not so much JD Vance, but he do serve in the office, the presidential office of the United States behind Donald Trump. He's second in command of all the country. Okay, and then I believe it's Pete Hegseth, number three guy. Your number three guy, right? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the agenda in which they told us beforehand, but I don't think not many people are listening. And you may have seen this graph before, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up right quick, okay? Because this magazine called The Economist, right here, okay? It's called The Economist. It's too blown up, and I'm not going to fix it. But anyhow, it's called The Economist. And this is a globe. It's supposed to be the globe of the entire world, but it shows all the disaster that is going on in the entire world. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick so I can see myself just a tad. Go ahead and push that over just a little bit. You know what? No, I just take myself out. But anyhow, as you can see, you have protests. People are getting arrested for protests. You see that right there. You see a ship packed with a lot of cargo, goods, supplies, resources, distributing all around the world. But then you see gunfire coming from out of that. This sounds like, and it looks like something that's going on today in the Strait of Hormuz, okay, which we're going to get to later on. And then you have the tanks, of course. You got Xi Jinping. You got Donald Trump. You got somebody that really looks like um no, right there. That's Zelensky, right? And then you have economic collapse. You have AI taking over jobs right there. Well, I wouldn't say. Well, I'm going to say taking over jobs, but not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, right? I'm going to say AI is assisting us, right? In our jobs, in the jobs market. Okay, let's just keep it like that. All right, and then you have America's 250th year of its existence, which is this year. I don't know how many of you guys knew that, but we've been around for 250 years. We've been established as the strongest nation in the world, the strongest country in the world by far. And there's no one even closer to the United States, not because I'm African American, not because I live in America on the West Coast, but that's fact. That's true. There's never been a country as powerful as the United States in all of the humanity's existence. Probably the most closest one in terms of distribution as far as riches and wealth will be ancient Babylon. Okay, but other than that, I don't even think ancient Babylon was even close to the United States in terms of currency and what we distribute and what we receive from other countries. Okay, and how our currency is still the global leading currency, even though that is quickly diminishing on purpose, and that's why I call the United States the rogue nation. Okay, there's a reason why I call it a rogue nation, and we're about to get into it, but I want to point out a few more things here, okay? And then you have the FIFA Cup here that's going to go on in, I believe, what, in California this year, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me on that, nonetheless. And then you just see a lot of calamity. You see pills, drugs, you see swords and stuff like that. That means war as well. And you see rockets taking off. We just had a rocket take off. What, yesterday? Yesterday, they're going to fly around the moon, right? They're going to fly close to the moon, but around the moon and do some other things. Then they're going to fly back home. And I guess that's the first time that we've ever done that in over 47 years. More, yeah, over 47 years, right? Okay, so now I showed you that because The Economist, it's a magazine, like I said, but it's only a magazine for rich people that they subscribe to. People like you and I, I'm not rich, but then again, I'm not poor, right? It's not for the middle class and below, right? It's for those that are like the one percenters or even above that in a sense, those for like oligarchs, right? And it literally, I don't know if you know much about it, but do your homework. Go ahead and Google it or whatever you want to do because everything that I'm saying right now is public information, okay? But they every time they put something on their cover, that's the agenda that's going to take place for that year. So everything that you see on this cover is what the world is going to experience, what the world will suffer, what the world will be involved in. Global conflicts, economic crisis, drugs, war. I mean, just everything, right? You saw it here. I just showed you. All right. So now, how does that involve America? Well, America leads the way in all of this. All right. America leads the way in all of this. Why? Because America's the most strongest, most powerful country in the world by far. And in order for this global economy to crash on purpose, there has to be something that America does in order to put the rest of the world at risk. Okay. But before we go any further, let me pull up something else for you guys. Okay. I got a couple of tabs here, so bear with me. I want to build my case. Okay. So that it makes sense, guys. Okay. And at the end, I'm telling you, it's prophetic. All right. It's something that the Lord shared with me. So bear with me. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. So before I show you this tab, um, again, it's America's job. In order for there to be a one world government, America has to move out of the way. Okay. America has to be set aside, right? That's why you don't see America spelled out as America in Bible prophecy. Revelations, what, 13, chapter 13. Read that whole chapter. Okay. And if you have wisdom, you will find America in that. But it's not stated as so much as a nation, it's stated as a beast. Okay. Not a lot of people are going to agree with that, but you do your homework, you do your research. You know what I'm saying? In order to understand Bible prophecy, you had to understand history as well. But anyhow, in order for the collapse to happen, in order for 2030 to even happen, right? And I'm gonna do a video on that, so be watching out for that, okay? But in order for the 2030 agenda to even unfold in the world, okay, throughout all the world, in order for their agenda, the elite's agenda, to be implemented in the world, in order for there to be a one world currency, in order for them saying you own nothing and be happy, I don't know where they got that from, first and foremost. Who doesn't own anything and they're happy? Like, not even homeless people are happy. That's why they're strung out on drugs. Not to talk about homeless people, because I was once homeless not too long ago, right? I wasn't happy. Okay, so who's like who's not having anything? Who, if you know anybody that doesn't own anything and they're happy, I mean, I believe in contentment, but happy? Happy because you don't own anything. Okay, if that's the case, won't they do it first? Won't they give us all that they have and not own anything and prove to us that they can be happy? It's all a lie. So in order for all of that to even happen, guys, America has to scoot out of the way. America has to self destruct. America has to let over 40 million immigrants across their border. No disrespect to immigrants. If you're an immigrant, much love to you. You know what I'm saying? Much love to you. But I'm just saying, like, not everybody that came across the border was a good person. Let's just put it like that. That was done on purpose. Poor old Biden, didn't call the shots or anything in his presidential in his office. He wasn't the one calling the shots, and they ran him down into the ground. The dude looked dead about time he left office. They ran him down into the ground. Okay. A lot of things are being done on purpose here within our country, here with these guys. I have nothing against JD Vance. I have nothing against Pete Hegseth, right? And I have nothing against President Donald Trump. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for Biden. I believe in voting, but that's being taken away from us slowly but surely, right? That's why we're trying to ban voting rights, right? That's why we're trying to ban a lot of other things that is a part of our constitution, right? So we have to self destruct. We have to get rid of all the good people in office, per se, that is not a part of our agenda. We have to get rid of those that say, hey, you know what, President, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or that's not right. Or, this war in Iran, we can defeat them. We can defeat them easily, but this is the outcome economically. Right? We have to get rid of those kind of people in order for us to purposely self destruct. No wonder why there's bunkers being built by some of the most powerful men on the face of this planet. No wonder why there's a bunker being built under the ballroom of the White House, whom Donald Trump literally said that the ballroom serves as a shield and a covering of the bunker that's underneath the ballroom. The ballroom, by the way, is 90,000 square feet. Okay, so just imagine how big this bunker is. Why a bunker next door? Well, connected to the White House. You know what I'm saying? And you having the military build it. We're gonna get to that later. It's because we're rogue, y'all. We're rogue. We're going rogue. Okay, America is going rogue, meaning that we have a mind of our own. No one on earth tells us what to do. We'll go ahead and capture whoever we want to capture, like we did in Venezuela, like we're about to do in Cuba. Okay, and like we're about to do in Iran in terms of crashing that regime. I'm not celebrating that. That's not something that I like to see. I like to see peace all around the world, right? But Bible prophecy is being fulfilled before our very eyes, and not many people know it. Okay? Not many people know it. Now, I want to pull up this tab. America, our president, um, our president in his office come across as Christian folks, but speak as a dragon, meaning that they always talking about God. And I'm a believer, right? I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. Okay. And I've been saved for over 21 years now, right? Following the Lord, right? I have my own ministry, another ministry besides this. Nonetheless, um, they appear as a lamb, the president of the United States in his office, they appear as a lamb, but they speak as a dragon. I'm gonna say it again. They appear as a lamb, meaning they appear as righteousness. They appear, well, not so much right. They appear as, let's just say, Christianity, right? Because of the words they speak and the way they try to carry themselves and always talking about God this and God bless you, God bless America, and all this other stuff, right? Appear as a lamb, but they speak as a dragon. We see President Donald Trump all day long on True Social, on all different types of forms of different platforms of social media, speaking threats and death and all this other stuff, what we're going to do, and even speaking nukes and stuff like that. That's speaking as a dragon, meaning flexing your authority. It's flexing his authority, flexing our military might, which is not doing too well from what I understand in Iran, though we're kind of getting the job done nonetheless. Um, Now we're going after American companies that are not aboard of this agenda. We're going, remember, in order for this whole world to collapse, America has to collapse, meaning there has to be a great civil war that takes place here in America in order for the world to just go into disarray. Okay. In order for that to happen, we also have to attack companies that will stand up against this administration in a certain way. Okay. And one of those companies is called Anthropic. Anthropic. Okay, let me pull it up real quick. They're facing a lawsuit right now against the president of well, The president of the United States, his office, his what do you call it? His administration, excuse me, his administration filed a lawsuit against Anthropic. Now, I know this is probably kind of like old news because this started in, I want to say earlier last month in March, right? So it's not new news, but I'm going somewhere with it. Okay. So tough it out with me. Now, the key aspects of this lawsuit is what? Let's go ahead and read through them real quick. Blacklisting. Oh, matter of fact, before I even do that, now, the reason for this lawsuit is because Anthropic pushed back against the administration. The administration wanted to use the technology and the coding and stuff like that, the AI system of Anthropic in warfare, right? So they want to teach this AI platform how to kill, right? How to survey, how to conduct surveillance on the battlefield and strike when necessary. They wanted to teach uh, they wanted to use their technology and implement it in their system. Anthropic said, well, no, we don't really want to do that because that's not why we built it. We built it for X, Y, and Z. Well, this guy here and this guy, oops, excuse me, I'm getting my directions. This guy here, Pete Hegseth, my bad, y'all. Pete Hegseth. They got furious. They got mad. They got upset. President Donald Trump, he got his lawyers together, and now they slapped him with a lawsuit. And here's the key aspects of the lawsuit. This is what they're facing, okay? It says blacklisting the Department of Defense, DOD, under Secretary Pete Hegseth, label Anthropic a supply chain risk to national security. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, y'all. How is Anthropic, okay? How is Anthropic a supply chain risk, right? How are they or any kind of risk when a lot of American people are benefiting from their technology? A lot of developers are benefiting from their technology, okay? But this is an attack on an American country, on an American company, okay? Because they said, no, we really don't want to do that besides just talking things out and saying, hey, we'll give you a little bit of this, but we don't really want to do. They want it all. They wanted the entire technology and say, you know what, we want to use it towards warfare. Okay. To obliterate everyone that steps up against the United States. You see where this rogueness is going. You see where this rogue mentality right here is going. You see where the direction of United States is going. The government is supposed to be for the people, right? Supposed to be for the people, right? The government is no longer for the people. Why? Because of the revenue stream that they make through taxes, through tax dollars. Okay, they see it as a lick. You know what I'm saying? They see it as a hustle. The American people paying taxes is a hustle to these guys here. Okay. They are profiting off of the American people like no other. Okay. And so it's no longer working for the people. Like, who asked for Anthropic? Where of the people? If you work for us, where up? I'm so sorry. That's my phone ringing. Where of the people? Okay, did they say, wait, we want this technology implemented? Now I know there's some out there, but when did we take a vote for that? All these decisions that they're making, when did they put a vote out for that? Right? When were we able to vote for any of that stuff? It seems like the direction and where we're going, the American people hate it, according to polls. Okay. The American people hate it. They hated it with Biden. They hated it now with Donald Trump, both terms, last term and this term. Okay. So the American people are not being involved in this. Stick with me. I'm going somewhere. Okay. Now, key details, like I said, the Department of Defense, DOD, under Pete Hegseth, labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk to national security. The first time a U.S. company has received this designation. It's not a foreign company. It's not like it's China. It's not like it's Russia. It's not like it's any other foreign country. It's an American company designated as a supply chain risk to national security. Basically, what they're saying is, hey, what they're crying. They're crying because they were rejected this technology. But look what happens by them being rejected from this technology. Look what happens to Anthropic all of a sudden. Okay. Um, Contractual disputes. It says the dispute arose after Anthropic refused to allow its Claude AI bots to be used for autonomous, lethal weapons or domestic mass surveillance. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, that's crazy. But they say we they are a national security risk because they are not allowed this technology for their agenda. It's not our agenda. It's for their agenda. Okay? It's for the government's agenda. It has nothing to do with the people. Though they package it, wrap it up, and present it to us as, hey, you feel safer walking down the streets with this technology and cameras on the corner and all that. You feel safer purchasing online and all that. No, no, it may be, but it's more of a sinister agenda to this, okay? Rock with me. All right. So, where am I at? Yeah, White House actions. President Trump ordered all federal agencies to cease using Anthropic technology, characterizing the company as a radical left woke company of Truth Social. Are you kidding me, guys? Are you serious? Right? He's not doing this to any other company. I mean, he will talk like this to like foreign companies or to like foreign nations or whatnot, but he's talking to an American company as if how he was before he caught Maduro. He's throwing this American company under the bus, trying to smear them, trying to make them look up, trying to make them appear to be as if this is just a bad, horrible company that is all about the far left and all this other stuff, and doesn't care for the American people because they can't have it. Because they can't use it. You see how this rogue nation is working, right? If they don't get what they want, they cry, wham, wham, boo hoo, and all this other stuff. But then they take unnecessary action, like slapping a lawsuit on Anthropic. That's not it. Let's keep reading. All right. So the lawsuit entails lawsuit and injunctions. Anthropic sued the government, arguing the blacklist is an unprecedented and unlawful retaliation for refusing a lift safety guardrails. Basically, they want this thing. It's being controlled now, right? This AI bot system is being controlled by Anthropic. They want to unlock this thing and use it for warfare, use it for combat action, right? Use it for global surveillance. Okay, let's go. All right, let's see. Is there any more that I have to read? Yeah, let me go ahead and finish. Unprecedented and unlawful retaliation for refusing to lift safety guardrails in late March 2026, and yeah, a federal judge granted a preliminary injunction against Blacklist, providing a temporary reprieve. Okay. Revenue at risk. Yeah, there's a lot of revenue at risk for Anthropic. The sanctions threaten hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Well, how is that? Because they did receive a government contract before this unnecessary injunction against them, this lawsuit against them. Now, all of that has come to a halt, meaning that their company, the shareholders, stockholders, and all that stuff, they are at risk of a loss in their investment, right? Because they secured hundreds of millions of dollars from this guy here, but now that's being threatened because they can't have their technology. So when you say no to the government over something that you own, something that you patent, right? Something that you developed yourself, and you say you can use it, but only to this extent. I don't want it killing people. If they don't like it, then they can take it, or they can crash it, or they can make your stuff public, like your coding and everything, make it public. We're about to get into that right now. Matter of fact, speaking of coding, let's see here. So over the past 2 weeks, well, matter of fact, that's where I want to go to, but I want to say this. Over the past 1 week, right? Over the past week, right? their coding information, their private information has been made public online. All of a sudden, blaming it on, and they're blaming it on, the news is blaming it on a worker at this company that accidentally did that. I guess it was two people. They said human error, right? Let's get into it real quick. All right. Mind you, I'm sorry, but mind you, this stuff didn't start happening with Anthropic until they started putting shooting lawsuits at Anthropic. Okay, Anthropic was perfectly fine until Donald Trump and his administrator and his administration began to file lawsuits against Anthropic, and then all of a sudden, this begins to happen. Check this out. Anthropic accidentally released part of the internal source code for its AI powered coding assistant, Claude Code, due to human error, the company said on Tuesday. Well, of course they got to say, because of course they have to say due to human error, right? Of course they have to say that. I bet they don't know who it is. No one has been fired. And if someone's been fired, they just being used for a scapegoat. We know that this didn't just happen because of happenstance. This didn't just happen because of a human error. Okay, being made public. You mean to tell me I'm working for Anthropic, and we have never had this problem before? I think they had one problem before that, but that was when the American government started showing interest, and Anthropic wasn't for it. But it's never got to this vast of a magnitude until this lawsuit started to happen. We have a government that is not for the people, but for themselves and their agenda. Okay. What is their agenda? To collapse the global economy. We knew, these guys knew, these, whatever you want to call them, knew. These men knew, okay, respectfully, they knew that going to Iran will collapse the global economy forever. This is not going to. We can end the war right now in Iran, and the Strait of Hormuz will still be on lockdown for years just because of the damage that it's caused, and nothing globally will pick up for a few years. We're in this for the long haul, guys. This is Bible prophecy. This is not something that we can just turn around ourselves. It's already been written. God already spoken this stuff, y'all. You feel me? We have to become a rogue nation in order for Bible prophecy to even be fulfilled in a certain way, in terms of global collapse. Okay, in terms of a new world order. America is that world order. We've been that world order for 250 years. No one close. Okay. How do you think that in order for a new world order to happen, what has to happen? What do you think has to happen? We have to tumble. We have to crash. The reason why this guy here, the president of the United States, is building a bunker under the ballroom next door to the White House during his presidency, well, it has to be during his presidency, is because it's because something's getting ready to hit the fan here in America. The people are going to go into an uproar and be upset with the president of the United States, be upset with our government. We're getting ready to see civil war, y'all. This stuff is being done on purpose. The people have to be slapped in the face so many times to the point to where we get tired of being slapped. We fight back. That's what they want in order for this empire to crash, y'all. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep going. Okay. Y'all gonna get me preaching. Let's get going. Okay. Their source code was literally made public. Okay, meaning the goodies of this AI technology was made public. That's like that's like my social security. I broadcast my social security number here in this video. That's how bad it is. But then hundreds of millions of people online got that source code, right? Or not that many, but competitors got that information, right? 500,000 lines, 500,000 lines code. Uh, How? How did a human error be that vast? How did that happen? Come on now, we know it ain't no human error. That's no human error, okay? Let's keep reading. All right. I'm gonna read a little bit more of this and then we're gonna go on to the next article. An int, an internal use file mistakenly included in a software update pointed to an archive containing nearly 2,000 files and 500,000 lines of code, which were quickly copied to developers' platforms. GitHub, never heard of that. A post on X sharing a link to the leaked code had more than 29 million views. Maybe I should be following what I'm reading, right? Okay. Sorry, guys. 29 million views early on Wednesday, which was the day before yesterday, and a rewritten version of the source code quickly became GitHub's fastest ever downloaded repository. Anthropic issued, let me put this, sorry about that. Anthropic issued copyright takedown requests. Sorry, I can't see that, guys. Request to try to contain the code's spread. Within the code, users spotted blueprints for a tagachi, tamakachi, I don't know, skewed coding assisting, and a always on AI agent per The Verge. That's bad. Not only was it stolen, it was made public, and not only was it made public, it was copied. How did that big of a mistake happen? By the way, that didn't start happening, and it happened twice within 1 week. Well, actually, within a 5-day period. That happened twice to this company, and it didn't start happening to this magnitude, right? It's like this company is being destroyed by being hacked. This company is being hacked to be destroyed until they submit. And I think you know where I'm going with this. If they submit, then I guarantee you all of it will stop. But a lot of people will be fired by this the administration. Just like, oh yeah, speaking of being fired, like I said, if Anthropic yields to this demand, to their demands, a lot of people on Anthropic will be fired, and you will see probably one of the CEOs or like chief CFOs or somebody of high stature because they literally spoke out against this administration and said, no, we don't want this cloud bot. We don't want what we've created to be something of warfare. We don't want to teach it how to kill and all that other stuff. There's limitations that we set to it. We want to keep it like that. And they said, oh yeah, yeah, okay, lawsuit. Always slapping somebody with a lawsuit, y'all. This man, he's in court every single day over some stupid stuff too. A lot of it is against him. A lot of it is necessary, but he filed a lot of stupid lawsuits, like one of them against Anthropic because they said no to their war games. Okay. And so now you see them being hacked and their stuff is being posted online. That's governmental stuff, y'all. That's the kind of stuff that the government will pay somebody that knows how to do that to do that. Okay? That's what we're talking about. That's what's going on here. We're not stupid enough to believe that there's somebody that works for this company that stole all these files and just accidentally put it online. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Come on. We weren't born just now. Okay, we know exactly what's going on here. Okay, and it has to happen. Like even if they didn't want it to happen, it'd end up happening anyway because it has to happen. America has to crash. We have to start unnecessary wars. We have to be fighting Iran. We have to be doing what we're doing in order for our dollar to tank. Okay, in order for us to lose our rights, y'all. Okay, in order for us to not have anything and be happy, right? Ain't happening. No, it's not. It's going to happen, but not with me, y'all. Come on now. Come on, hear me here. Okay, let's go on to the next article. Okay. Um. So I woke up this morning And this is how rogue we are, y'all. I'm telling you guys. Remember when I was talking about his administration? He has, these people in his administration, and his administration is weird, right? And I mean, I like some of the things that he stands for, right? Just like I like some of the things that Biden was doing, right? But there's this lady named Paula White, right? And she has an antichrist spirit, big time. Has an antichrist spirit, big time. I've been saying this before she was even in office with President Donald Trump, right? Before she was made his spiritual advisor, before they had the faith office, right? Okay. Appear as a lamb, but speak as a dragon. You can find that in Revelation chapter 13. Okay. I don't remember exactly which verse. I would give you a verse, but I'd just be giving you any kind of verse, and I don't want to do that. Okay, but you can find it in Revelation chapter 13, the second beast spoke, no, sorry, second beast, it says, appears as a lamb and speak as a dragon. The beast it doesn't represent a beast like somebody, like, like a beast that we think. A beast literally just represents a country. It doesn't mean just one singular person. A beast is a system, okay? But this kind of beast represents a beast represents a system, but it's who that runs this system, right? It said it had two horns. Okay, I don't want to get too much into it, but the Bible do say in Revelation 13 it had two horns. Those represent religious religious freedoms and civil I forget, civil liberties and religious liberties, something like that. Yeah, and there's only one country in the world that stands on that, and that's the United States of America. So Revelations is a lot of symbolism. Anyhow, let's get going, guys. All right, let's go to the next article. All right, let me pull it up on this screen. That's a lot better. Uh, U.S. President Donald Trump's personal spiritual advisor is facing widespread. That's that Paula White lady. That's that. That's that Antichrist lady. Matter of fact, I do have a picture of her, but it's kind of blown up because I had to blow up my picture, but there she is right there. That's her. She's deep and spiritual, and she's praying to the Lord and all this. I'm not knocking Christians, because again, I'm a believer. I follow the Lord, right? And I really believe, and I'm living out this end time ministry thing, right? But um you can tell somebody when they're just not there spiritually. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? Because I'm not here to expose and knock anybody. This is not one of those exposure ministries where we just expose people that we feel that are not doing God's work, right? I'm not like that. Anyhow, it says U.S. President Donald Trump, personal spiritual advisor, is facing widespread backlash as of this morning, right, on social media after making a controversial comparison between him and Jesus Christ on Wednesday. I can walk away from that right now, y'all. I mean, some things you just don't say. Some things you just don't do, especially. Oh, and she's a pastor too. She's a pastor of a church, I believe, in Florida, right? She's been like that for years. But her husband now is this ex rock and roll guy. You know what I'm saying? Just weird couple. I'm sorry if y'all listen to this. You guys are weird. Okay, very weird. You're not there. You're not there spiritually. Out of your mouth, you say you love God, but the heart doesn't show. The heart is dark. Okay, y'all. So this is who's giving spiritual advice to President Donald Trump. Okay. No wonder why he talks God, but acts like a dragon. She's the same way, right? All of America, the system acts that way. In God we trust, on our dollar. But then again, the whole dollar is pagan. Appears as a lamb, Christianity, Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God, but speaks as a dragon, meaning that they speak with authority, right? Speak with fervency, with dominionship. You better or else. Look what we did to Maduro. Look what we doing to Cuba. Look what we doing to Iran. Look what we've been doing to the entire world since our conception, built from the ground up, y'all. No other country just is built from the ground up and becomes the most powerful country in the world for 250 years. It's happened before, but the Bible said that the second beast, which is a rogue beast, which has nobody else's interest but their own. This is what these beasts represent, the first beast and the second beast. Again, Revelations chapter 13. First beast, second beast. The second beast, I would tell you who the first beast is, but I want you to go ahead and read that real quick. And you stay tuned. If you stay tuned and keep following these videos, you will find out who the first beast is. But anyhow, the second beast practices practices all the spirituality of the first beast. Okay. Anyhow, so his spiritual advisor Paula White compared him to Jesus Christ because all the things that Jesus Christ been through and went through, how he was whipped, how he was beaten, how he was hung on a cross, how he died and rose again, everything that he'd been through. His spiritual advisor Paula White, this lady right here, y'all, this lady right here, she compared him, President Donald Trump, okay, who was right next to her. I'm not gonna do it. Compare, yeah, literally said that his life is just like Jesus Christ. That because of the things that he been through. So everything that he been through, he he reminds her of Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. Just breathe, y'all. Just breathe. Like that's who's advising our president of the United States. Let's keep going. Okay. I got so much to say on that, but let's just keep going. Okay. Him and Jesus Christ on Wednesday. Jesus taught so many lessons through his death. This is her, and we're quoting, right? Burial and resurrection. He showed us great leadership, great transformation, requires great sacrifice. I don't even like where she's going with that. Great sacrifice. In what way? In what way are you talking about? Great sacrifice, right? Let's keep going, man. He showed us great leadership, great transformation, requires great sacrifice. Okay, I get it. So Paula White King. She was saying this during like a speech for I think it was like a Passover meal or something like that that we were having. Something that had to do with Easter. And oh yeah, by the way, Easter doesn't mean the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Not according to the calendar that we on. We are on the Gregorian calendar, okay? So 6 days out of the 7 days that we have on our calendar are in tribute to the Greek gods, okay? Even though Gregorian calendar, Pope Gregory, he was a pope of Rome. Rome ended up adopting the Greek gods. That's why, like I said, 6 days out of the seven are contribute to Greek gods, except for that last, I believe it's on Wednesday. That's a Romanitic god. Okay. For instance, Saturdays, like we all know what Saturn god, the god of Saturn, Sunday, the sun god, Monday, the moon god, right? Like so on and so forth. It's in tribute. So Easter comes from the goddess Estar. Okay, Estar is considered and is known worldwide as a fertility god, and that's where we get the Easter egg from. Estar's egg. Estar, she's the fertility god. And so we have all these eggs in these little parties, and we have no clue on what we're even doing. So Miss Paula White Kane, okay, she said this speech on not on Easter, but on Passover, I believe. Let's finish up real quick. And Mr. President, no one has paid the price like you have paid the price. It almost cost you your life. You were betrayed and arrested and falsely accused. It's a familiar pattern that our Lord and Savior showed us, she said. But it didn't end there for him. And it didn't end there for you. Let's go ahead and read this last paragraph before I throw up, y'all. God always had a plan. On the third day, he rose, he defeated evil, he conquered death, hell, and the grave. And because he rose, we all know that we can rise. And, sir, because of his resurrection, you rose up. And she added, that's crazy. First of all, if Jesus was here in the flesh, Matter of fact, he is here. He's inside of us. If you follow the Lord, if you've given your life over to the Lord, he's inside of you. He rests on the inside of you through the power of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the same spirit that rested inside of Jesus. Nonetheless, this is considered as blasphemy. Okay, blasphemy is probably one of the most harshest things you can say against God. One of the harshest things you can say. And that's what she said. You never compare man to Jesus. You can't, because Jesus was God in a body. So how can you exalt a man in comparison to God? We know what happened when Lucifer did that. He said, "I will ascend above the clouds and the stars of God, and will sit among God." He didn't say, "I will be God," or he said, "I will be like God." We know what happened. So she's basically saying that he's like God. That's blasphemy, y'all. It's blasphemy. That's how rogue of a country we are. Okay. This is the person that is, this is the person that literally has our president's ear. Okay. She literally has our president's ear. That lady right there. She has our president's ear. And she's giving him this kind of sermon, this kind of advice, this kind of uh dark motivation. Got him thinking that he's superior. Got him thinking that he's in similitude to God. What? Shame on you, Miss Paula White. Shame on you. Let's keep going, y'all. Okay. So I bring that up because not only that's who's in our White House with our president, but also remember what I told you. We have to crash and get rid of all the good people, get rid of all the people that are against his agenda. We have to get rid of all of them in order, excuse me, in order for their agenda to take form, to take shape. Okay? We have to get rid of all the good people. We have to get rid of all the people that push back against this administration. Okay. If you don't push back against this administration, you have your job. You keep your job. Well, what about those that push back against them, that do their work, that are for the American people, and that America benefits from? What if they push back against you? Well, you lose your job. Let's see here. Let's go to Mr. Peak Headset. Okay, I called them Headset. I'm sorry, not Pete Headset, but Peak Hegseth. Okay, Hegseth outs Chief of Staff General Randy George. Okay, this happened yesterday. All right, let's read a little bit of it and then I'm gonna explain. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked Army Chief of Staff General Randy George to step down and take immediate retirement. Sources familiar with the decision told CBS News. Hmm. First of all, it's not it's not explained in the news what happened. It's never asked what the American people think because we don't matter anymore, y'all. We don't have a constitution. We have it in writing, but it's never exercised, right? Why? Because we're rogue. We have to be. In order for their agenda to come to pass, y'all. Okay? In order for this global world order to come to pass, people like this guy, Randy George, he has to be fired. Now, again, I don't know necessarily what happened. But obviously, he's been in the army for over a decade for a reason. I mean, not a decade, over 40 years for a reason. Obviously, he knew what he was doing, right? But he's this older guy. And this is what I got from this guy that has been asked, basically forced to step down because, yeah, he was asked and they make it seem like it's not being forced because they ask. But we already know what this game is about, right? You ask because that's them saying, I want you to step down or else. We see what's happening with Anthropic. We see what's happening with Iran. We see what happened with Venezuela. Just because we're doing it to foreigners don't mean that it won't come here on American soil. That same rogue spirit that the American administration has, that rogue spirit is going to work against the people. Just because we see it in inflation, in the gas prices, in the food prices, in the mortgages, right, in everyday life, that's not what I'm talking about. The whole world is going to experience that. I'm talking about if you're not with their agenda, you're going to be locked up. Your bank accounts are going to be frozen. I mean, we see all of that getting ready to happen here in America. We have to fall. Our flag has to no longer have to be. Our flag no longer can be waving in the air if we're gonna adopt a new world order. If we're gonna adopt a one world currency, a universal basic income. In order for all that to happen, we have to crash, and we see it crashing. We see Donald Trump. Again, I have nothing against the guy, but we see him just being being used by the puppet master, which are the elites that are above the law. Yeah, no man is above the law, but there are men that are above the law, y'all. Okay, and they're above Donald Trump. We understand that it wasn't Donald Trump's heart to do what they're doing in Iran, but he had no choice. He has no choice. Okay, he had no choice. Why do you think that every time he kicks back, every time he calls someone out or call out the elites or do whatever, his life will be threatened all of a sudden? How many times did they try to assassinate him? But when all that stopped, there's no more assassination attempts. Though there are people that still want to kill him just out of rage, right? With every president. There's no sitting president right now in this world or sitting whatever in a high seat, a high position that no one wants to assassinate. You get to this level, everyone there's going to be at least one person that wants to assassinate you. But we see with Donald Trump how all that went away. You can call it prayer and all that. I believe a lot of prayer helped that, right? But you can see him now starting to compromise. Oh, we're bombing at a mess out of Iran. They have no military, they're flattened and all this. We took out all the air defense missiles and all of that. Bruh, but you can't get the Strait of Hormuz open. You doing all that. Most powerful country in the world, most powerful military in the world. You can't get the Strait of Hormuz open. Okay, you're lying. We're lying. We're lying. Okay, let's keep going, guys. Where did I leave off at? Uh, okay, let's go to the next paragraph. I'm gonna read another paragraph after this. Then we're gonna go to something else. One of the sources said Hegseth wants someone in the role who will implement President Trump's and Hegseth's vision for the army. I wonder what that is, and I can guarantee you that their vision, what they envision, is not what the American people envision. Okay, and I'm going to pull it up in another video, but we automatically know that Trump wants to control the entire northern hemisphere. Okay, he wants to control Canada. He wants that to be a part of the United States. He wants Iceland to be a part of the United States. He wants Cuba, Venezuela, all the northern hemisphere to be United States. Okay, United States. That's a what do you call that? To control like that. What do you call that? I want to say a theocracy, but not. That's a dictatorship. Okay, that's a dictatorship over the northern hemisphere. Dictatorship meaning it's you that makes the decisions for everyone, or else. Right? That's what that is. We see China getting ready to do it, right? With Taiwan and their region. We see Russia doing it. Why do you think you see the Ukraine war? Because they want to control their end. We see three men in the world doing this dictatorship, this narcissistic game, implementing this narcissistic game plan. Okay. Bear with me because I'm going to give it to you at the end of this video. All right. I'm going to tell you prophetically what's going on. Okay. Because we have to crash in order for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. That's why you can never find it spelled out in the Bible, United States, right? But symbolically, you find it all day long. And the only reason why we have this president in the White House is not so much that he will stand up against people or stand up against other countries. Yeah, he doesn't fear like Let's say how Biden feared, but the reason why he was reelected is because of who? Because of what? Look who was around him during his election: oligarchies, businessmen, the men that control the economy. Larry Fink, who is over BlackRock, who he only manages over what, $16 trillion. That's it, right? I mean, come on. You got men that control the world's resources, voting you in, getting you into office, y'all. That's the president that we got. Why? Because he's going to bring a major collapse to the United States. And when the United States collapse, all the world will collapse. Because the United States lead the way in everything. I'm not saying the biggest producer in everything, but they lead the way in everything. And when we fall, we take everybody down with us. Okay. And that's what we're seeing live in real time during our lifetime, y'all. That's why we voted this man in to office. And he knows that he has accelerated what Biden did. He knows he accelerated what Biden did, though he tried to say, well, Biden, he wasn't this and this and that, and that. And he let all these immigrants in and blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't have did it that way. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have did it that way, but you probably still would have did it. Yeah, you're holding it at bay, because you got the people thinking that, oh yeah, he's a good president. He said he's going to carry he carries out what he said he's going to do. Great job, Donald Trump. No, that's not what his focus is on: crashing the economy in a way that it doesn't appear to be his fault, but a war's fault, right? Or because of the Strait of Hormuz's fault, right? That they say it has nothing to do with us, but it has everything to do with us. It has. Why do you think he's trying so bad to get it open? It has everything to do with us. If it didn't have nothing to do with us, then you wouldn't have fought it in the first. You wouldn't have went at it after in the first place. Because last time I checked, Mr. Trump, that you were there for the Iranian people. You said that over 30,000 of them were being slaughtered because of protesters, and you said help is on the way. And that only lasted for about 2 weeks. That same lasted for about 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you started talking about Iranian's nuclear program, and it was all about the nuclear program. Then you actually got there, bombed them, blasted them. Now all of a sudden it's about the Strait of Hormuz. So it's not about the people. It's not about the nuclear program anymore, though it's a little bit about the nuclear program. But now you're focused on Hormuz. Hormuz. Mr. President, it was all about the money in the first place. It was all about the Strait of Hormuz in the first place. You want to bomb that air. You want to bomb that to collapse this global market. Because if you didn't want to collapse it, you would open it. There's only one country in the entire world. They've been saying it on the news all day today. There's only one country in the entire world that can open the Strait of Hormuz, and that's the President of the United States. That's the United States Army. We're the only ones that can open up the Strait of Hormuz because we're the ones that got the firepower. We got the groundwork. We got the air support. We got all that can literally obliterate Iran if we really wanted to. Not the people, but just that regime. If we really wanted to, we will. We would. If we really wanted to open the Strait of Hormuz, we would. But now he's calling on Europe to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Europe? We're their protection. They got nothing even close to what we have to even start thinking about opening the Strait of Hormuz. It's a front, y'all. It's a front. It's a lie. It's a sham. It's a scam, right? And all the while, we're up here building bunkers over $400 million ballroom, and we have the military building this bunker. What's getting ready to happen? See, they know it all. They told us from the beginning when I showed you that globe of all that activity in the beginning of this video. They showed us what's getting ready to go on. Y'all, we getting ready to see a civil war. We getting ready to see mass protests that we never seen during our lifetime. He's going to crash the economy so bad that these elites are already fearing for their life because they're purposely crashing the economy. If they weren't purposely crashing for the economy, if they cared about the economy, if they cared about the people of the world, if they cared about the United States, none of this would be going on. None of this will be going on. Iran was never our problem. Iran is Israel's problem. But because we always yield, because the United States always yield to Israel, and since we got people like Miss Paula White Kane speaking into the ear of President Donald Trump that God always wants us to support His people. God said, "Whoever supports Israel is gonna be blessed." Well, you took the word of God and you twisted it, Miss Paula White Kane. You twisted it. It's the same thing that the serpent in the garden did. They spoke the word of God, and he said, "You know what? No, God meant this." He took God's word, twisted it, and deceived them. That's the same thing you doing, Miss Serpent Lady. It's the same thing you doing. You know, Iran is not even our problem. Yeah, they call us Big Satan. I wonder why. We're the biggest bullies on the block, right? Just a nation of murderers. That's it. Not the people, but the CIA, the government. That's what we do. Anyhow, done got me started, y'all. All right, let's finish up. All right. Okay. Let me go to the next article. Let's talk about. I'm gonna skip Miss Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, and I'm gonna skip how there was a fighter jet shot down. There was a fighter jet that was shot down, y'all, today. And matter of fact, yeah, let me go to that real quick because it's prophetic. And I'm not one to say everything is prophetic and all this other stuff. What I mean, you'll see what I mean by it. Okay. All right, so check this out. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it right quick. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, AP. Fighter jet was shot down in Iran on Friday, and one crew member was rescued. Officials said that the first aircraft downed since the war began nearly 5 weeks ago. That's not the first aircraft. See their line right there. That's not the first aircraft that was shot down. There was many that were shot down. So I don't get it. It's propaganda, and it's funny because all of this is being seen, but we used to be able to see the war in the Middle East. We used to be able to see it in action. We used to be able to see it, stuff that's going on at nighttime and all this other stuff via courtesy of the United States. Now we don't see any of that. We have to take their word for it, what they're telling us. I can guarantee you we got over a thousand people dead that fought this war on our behalf. This meaningless war. Well, it's not meaningless because God's word is always perfect, right? But I'm just saying, and in reality, is meaningless, right? Though God always has a plan. To us, is meaningless though. They tell us, "Oh no, no aircrafts has been shot down." This and that. A couple of days ago, it was 13. Now we're being told just the first one. That's a lie. It's a lie. Okay. Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this portion up real quick. I want to read this. Okay. In 5 weeks, it marked a major escalation in the conflict just 2 days after President Donald Trump said in a national address that the U.S. has beaten and completely decimated Iran and was going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. He's been saying that ever before he even started the war. Okay. Before he dropped the first bomb, he's been saying that. Okay. Now, the thing is that I don't even think this really happened. And the reason why I say that is because, for one, I don't take them for what they say anymore. I stopped that a long time ago. I'd be surprised if this really happened. There's jets that's always being shot down, our jets that are being shot down, from our Raptors to our most highly, most highest advanced jets being shot down. Okay. Not every day, all day. Not saying that, but it's happened multiple times, numerous times. Okay. Last time I checked, it was over 14 times that it's happened. Okay. Nonetheless, I believe this right here is a lie. Okay. And the reason being is because, for one, Pete Hegseth, we just read how he fired the attorney, that guy, Mr. Rogers, or whatever, or Rando, whatever his name is, George Rando or something, whatever his name is. He asked him to step down, and there's many that he's asked to step down, but he was the head of the military, and he's asked him to step down. Very next day, plane got shot down. I don't, and see, they fired him because, well, they asked him to step down because He's not with that agenda. He's not with their war games. He's not in agreement with their war games. So he said, okay, well, since you're not in agreement with our war games, we're asking you to step down. And he's politely stepping down without a fight or anything like that, right? Because he served for over 40 years. And plus, he understands that them asking is them demanding. And he doesn't want to fight. He don't want to put up with the headache because I'm pretty sure he's had multiple sleepless nights since this war began. And if this war was to go bad, it'd be all on him and other higher ranking officials just like him taking the heat when it wasn't them that wanted to do this war. This guy did not want to do this war. And I bet he's been acting like he didn't want to do this war. And I bet he stepped up and said something to Mr. Pete Headset. Keep calling him Headset. Like, Headset. Pete Hegseth. Okay, I got to say his name slowly because I'm end up saying Headset. And he might hear that and probably send somebody to my doorstep and arrest me for that, because that's how rogue we are. Okay. Anyhow, um, so they asked him to step down. He didn't want to do this. He's not with the invading of Iran, the killing off of Iran like that. He's not with it. And so they asked him to step down. Okay. The very next day, we're reading about this, how a fighter jet's been shot down. Right. Now we've been hearing that throughout the war periodically. But there's a fighter jet that been shot down. Now they're saying that they're sending rescue crews to Rabababa. Okay, they sending rescue crews to rescue these men that occupied the aircraft. It was only two men. They said one was rescued, one is missing. They're blaming this Iran. I don't believe that this really happened. Not this one. I believe this is their way to use or to excuse themselves to put boots on the ground because they're going to say something. And mark my word, this is where it gets prophetic for y'all, okay? For all of us. This is where it gets prophetic. They're going to use this event right here as an excuse to put boots on the ground. Then if anybody pushes back, they're going to say, well, you don't care about the American life. You don't care about the flag and all this. No, it ain't about that. It's about you lying. Okay. They're going to use this story here, this crash. Okay. This crash um, as an excuse to invade Iran having boots on the ground because that's what they want. They know that most of America thinks it's a hideous idea. It's a preposterous idea. It's an asinine like idea. Okay, it's a ridiculous idea. 90%, 90+% of the entire country is mountainous regions. We don't know how to navigate that. We know nothing. We're not about that life. They are though. They are because they live there. They navigate that. They about that life. We not. We get blown a bit without the help of the Lord, right? Nonetheless, they're going to use this crash as an excuse to invade and to do what they please, do what pleases their agenda. Okay, that we are real guys. Look, I'm no fly on the wall in the Oval Office or wherever they have these meetings. But we're this close from pimp boots on the ground and us invading Iran. And like I said in all my other videos, it's not going to end well for both sides. Though United States will prevail in overthrowing this regime, and the president of the United States will get someone in there that serves their plan. That's why I say we're rogue because we literally put people uh, and power in other countries that serves our agenda, that one world agenda, that whole believing in the collapse because we're all going to benefit in the collapse of the economy and of the American people because we're going to be up here and everybody's going to be down here. That's what the 2030 agenda is. Okay. The media paints President Donald Trump as if he's not on board with it, but he is. Maybe not word for word with them, right? But he's on board. If he wasn't, he wouldn't do this. If he wasn't on board, he wouldn't even took the president. He wouldn't even took the presidential office. Okay, because you can't be in the presidential office and not be on board. That's how powerful these people are that call these shots. They put in the presidential seat who they want there. They know, I bet there's been many phone calls where Donald Trump talked mess about certain oligarchs and all this other stuff, but behind closed doors, I bet they say, that's just talk. That's just for the media. I bet that's what's going on, guys. Come on now. We got to see this. We got to see this, okay? But they're going to use this plane being shot down, this aircraft being shot down to invade Iran. The very next day, this happens after Pete Hegseth fired those two guys. Well, asked them to step down. The two main guys that the guy that calls the shots, that sends the troops, that guy, he asked him to step down, and he put his guy. He's getting ready to put his guy in place that will basically say yes, sir, boss to him. Okay. Very next day after the guy steps down, we're now seeing the blueprints of a ground invasion, and that's their way to excuse their agenda to the American people because of this crash. Oh, we're looking for that one. We're still looking for that one. Oh, the Iranians captured them. Right? I bet you we're going to hear that either later today or early tomorrow. We're going to start hearing that. Watch. Mark my word. It never gets old with America. All right. In closing, I want to talk about this real quick. I mentioned it a few times. The president told reporters Sunday that the ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under. Wow. A shed for what's being built under. Let's read a little bit of this real quick. The information has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit. This is President Donald Trump, and I quote, that was filed, but the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction. And we're doing very well, Trump told reporters on Air Force One. So we're ahead of schedule. Now, what do you think you would need a bunker built by the military, not just a normal, not just a third party contractor? We're talking about the military. So everything in there is going to be military grade, military technology. They have the most advanced technology in the entire world. The glass in the ballroom, just the glass in itself is bulletproof. The roof, the roof of the ballroom is drone proof. Why? Yeah, we understand that there's been a couple of assassination attempts on your life, but nobody came after you with a drone. Nobody came after you with missiles or anything. Why the ballroom so fortified? And on top of that, why are you saying that's a shed to that which is underneath? They have a bunker underneath, y'all. It says it right here. Let me pull it up real quick. Well, it doesn't say bunker, but everybody that follow this story know it's a bunker. Even Donald Trump said that it was like a bunker. So, okay. In my closing, I'm gonna read this. Project Scopes, the 400 million private donor funded ballroom acts as a roof or shed for the secure underground facility below. It's literally fortified. The whole thing is like a turtle shell, right? Try to break a turtle shell. It's the most hardest thing to break. Well, that's how the ballroom is built. It's beautiful, right? It's going to be gorgeous. 90,000 square feet, right? It's going to be beautiful. It's going to match the White House, meaning the aesthetics are not going to be off from the White House, meaning the way the White House is designed is going to match its design, not throwing it off, right? Basically saying not painting my house white when all the other houses in the neighborhood are light colored, right? So you can't do that in HOA, right? Paint your house black when all the houses in that neighborhood is a certain color. Your house has to match the aesthetics, right? Nonetheless, $400 million, bulletproof, bulletproof glass, right? Drone proof roof. And then you have the military building a bunker with the highest tech in the world underneath. Why? Surveillance. And because of what's getting ready to happen here in America. This Strait of Hormuz war, we already know that we knew in advance that if we were to attack Iran, this is going to be at risk. And we knew how valuable Hormuz was. Okay. We knew how valuable it was. But because we're all about crashing the economy so there can be a new distribution of wealth, yeah, of course, you're going to have Trump owning Gaza. We know what's going on in Gaza. That whole board of peace and all that, Trump is ahead of that for life. All the money that runs through there. When they start to build and make it livable and habitable again, and make it one of the most beautiful cities in the world, this man, Donald Trump, gonna be benefiting from that. He benefiting from it now. I bet JD Vance got a piece of it too. And Pete Head said, got a piece of that. Guys, we're being played. In my closing, we're being played. This whole bunker thing that he got building, it's just because of what's getting ready to pop off here in America during his presidency. If it really do pop off during his presidency, but it's going to pop off. Civil war is going to pop off in his presidency because we only can take so much. And so they create chaos to bring chaos upon the lives of humanity. And when you bring chaos upon the lives of humanity, we can only bear so much, right? Until we lose our minds. And then all of a sudden, you got everybody against everybody. You got this race against this race, this neighborhood against this neighborhood, this country against this. Like we're getting ready to see it because we're going to hit this breaking point because of what's going on around the world. It has not hit home yet. But what they want to see hit home, the final nail in the coffin for a new world order is for America to collapse. And that only comes by civil war. All right. So God bless you, man. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. This is my first ever pretty much news report, prophetic kind of a thing. Again, what I do here is I take today's news, okay, and see what the Bible has to say about it. This guy right here, this guy right here. Yeah, God got him in that seat for a reason. But I wouldn't want to be in that seat to bring destruction in an artful kind of way, in a business kind of a way, right? It's still destruction. However you paint it, it's still destruction. All right. God bless you guys. See you next time. Like, share, subscribe. I'm on when I'm on, so go ahead and hit the notification button. I don't have a specific time that I'm on, but I'm thinking about what time I would like to be on, especially on Fridays. Maybe every Friday. I do come out with multiple videos though throughout the week, but that's not a set time. I just happen to pick a certain time and then boom. So go ahead and hit your notification bell and you'll know when I am on live. But I'm thinking about, at least for my first time, being live every Friday about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But you guys will know. You guys will find out. All right. God bless you. See you next time. Peace.